Introduced in 1939, the Boulton Paul Defiant was Britain's innovative countermeasure against the German bombers of the London Blitz. This fighter stood out with its rear-mounted turret, housing 4 .303 caliber Browning machine guns. Its deceptive resemblance to the Hawker Hurricane allowed it to surprise and engage enemy bombers. However, the Defiant's design, focusing on turret firepower over speed and forward guns, presented operational challenges. It struggled in direct confrontations with faster, more agile fighters like the Luftwaffe's Bf-109. Despite these limitations, the Defiant played a pivotal role in advancing aviation technology, particularly in developing ejection seats, serving as a testbed for the first Martin Baker ejection seats. As the Defiant patrolled the night skies during the Blitz, this aircraft, initially designed to protect London from aerial bombardment, was about to achieve a record-breaking performance in the history of aerial warfare. In the 1930s, as tensions escalated globally, the Royal Air Force faced an imposing challenge. Anticipating an imminent threat from enemy bombers, the RAF recognized the inadequacy of their defenses. Most Axis bombers were now significantly faster than their single-engine biplane fighters. This was a direct consequence of the rapid advancements in aircraft design during the 20s and 30s, which had produced a new generation of faster, multi-engined monoplane bombers. To counter this threat, the RAF strategized a novel approach. They proposed the development of turret-armed bombers, a shift in design philosophy aiming to combine concentrated firepower with the agility of contemporary fighters. The envisioned aircraft were to be capable of both day and night operations, targeting enemy bombers, which were unlikely to have fighter escorts due to the considerable distance from Germany to the United Kingdom. On June 26, 1935, the Air Ministry issued specifications for a revolutionary two-seat fighter. This aircraft was to carry a concentrated armament system, matching the performance of the latest single-seat monoplane fighters. A key feature of this design was the turret gunner, shielded from the airstream by the aircraft propeller, enabling a more effective and accurate targeting of fast-moving enemy aircraft. Boulton Paul Aircraft, a company at the forefront of turret design, responded to this call. Having pioneered the pneumatic-powered enclosed nose turret in the Boulton Paul P-75 Overstrand biplane bomber, and acquired rights to an advanced French-designed electro-hydraulic-powered turret, they were well positioned to meet the RAF's requirements. Ultimately, Boulton Paul's design, featuring a robust 4-gun turret, emerged as the winner. Boulton Paul created a clean and simple design to meet the Royal Air Force's specifications, a 2-man pilot-gunner configuration. This choice marked a paradigm shift, intending to outpace the increasingly swift enemy fighters while alleviating the pilot's burden. The chosen prototype, later renamed the Boulton Paul Defiant, was explicitly designed to intercept heavy German bombers. At the heart of the aircraft was its pièce de résistance, a rear-mounted turret armed with 4 .303 caliber Browning machine guns. Ingeniously engineered, the turret ring was obstructed at the rear, a precaution to prevent the guns from inadvertently damaging the tail assembly or the propeller blades. In the heat of battle, the gunner could swivel the turret forward, angling it upwards by 19 degrees, thus ceding fire control to the pilot. On April 28, 1937, even before the prototype's maiden flight, the Royal Air Force ordered 87 Defiant aircraft. Months later, on August 11th, the first prototype performed its first flight without the turrets, as they were not ready yet. Without the drag of the heavy turret, the Defiant showed promising results, and the contract was furthered the following year. However, the prototype showed a disappointing performance when the turrets were finally installed in 1938 after several flights without them. Its slow development and lack of results eventually delayed the first delivery until after the war had started. In December 1939, the 1st Royal Air Force Squadron received the first Defiant, ready to face the incoming enemy. But half a year later, the situation would take a turn no one saw coming. During the Defiant's first operational sortie on May 12, 1940, the squadron claimed to have downed a Junkers Ju-88. However, the initial victory was overshadowed the very next day. In a brutal encounter with a group of Messerschmitt Bf-109s, one of the Luftwaffe's top fighters, the Defiant squadron suffered a heavy blow. In this intense dogfight, they lost 5 out of 6 aircraft, highlighting the Defiant's limitations against more agile fighters. But the Defiant's moment of glory was just around the corner. During the Battle of Dunkirk, a critical phase of the war, the 264th Squadron, equipped with Defiants, undertook 2 afternoon patrols. In these missions, they achieved something extraordinary. The squadron shot down 37 German aircraft over Dunkirk, setting a record for the Royal Air Force for the most enemy planes down by a single RAF squadron in one day. This achievement resonated throughout the RAF. Nicholas Cook, a Defiant crew member, described the experience to reporters in a strikingly humble way. He compared the downing of enemy aircraft to something as simple as, quote, knocking apples off a tree. June marked a pivotal moment in history as France capitulated to German forces. With the fall of France, Germany stood to challenge its last adversary in Western Europe, isolated across the treacherous waters of the English Channel. In a strategic move, Adolf Hitler issued a directive for the potential execution of a daring operation, the invasion of Great Britain itself. However, the mission's success hinged on a critical factor: achieving air superiority over the British Isles, for the mighty Royal Navy held unchallenged dominion over the Channel and the North Sea. The Luftwaffe, under the command of Hermann Göring, was tasked with a monumental challenge. On August 2nd, Göring unleashed the Eagle Day Directive, a bold strategy aiming to deliver crushing blows from the skies. The objective was clear: decimate British air power, clearing the skies for the impending invasion. As history would have it, a decisive confrontation loomed on the horizon. The Luftwaffe's victory in this aerial duel would have spelled doom for Great Britain, leaving her vulnerable to invasion and occupation. And now, having conquered France, Great Britain lay within reach. Initially, the Boulton Paul Defiant proved to be quite successful against the Luftwaffe, earning it the endearing nickname of Daffy. It was planned that during daytime and nighttime missions, a group of Defiants would fly underneath or to the side of the Luftwaffe bomber groups, bringing the enemy down by concentrating their fire. In addition, coordination and flawless communication were essential to fly the aircraft. As the pilot concentrated on steadily flying the aircraft beneath the undefended belly of the bombers, the gunner would focus his attention on using the turrets to destroy them. It was also commonly mistaken for the Hawker Hurricane fighter, so German pilots would attempt to bring it down from the rear, as the Hurricane had no rear-facing guns. This confusion led to several early victories against the Luftwaffe. However, this success was short-lived. Once the German pilots recognized the error, the Luftwaffe changed tactics and began to attack from the front or below. While the Defiant's gunners could fire at targets from above and behind, the aircraft was completely defenseless against this new maneuver, resulting in several losses. Although initial estimates indicated that the aircraft would be a great adversary for the fast German bombers, adding a turret and the extra crewman made the Defiant nearly 100 miles per hour slower than the Luftwaffe Me-109 fighter. More experienced crews would use the Luftbrücke technique to repel German fighters, forming a circle and descending so that the enemy pilots could not fly in front or underneath them, while younger squadrons, without required coordination and communication, did not fare well when encountering German aircraft. In late August of 1941, the 264th Squadron lost 8 aircraft during an encounter with the Luftwaffe. Although the squadron inflicted similar casualties on the enemy, over half the delivered Defiants had been shot down by then. Originally intended as a day and night fighter, the aircraft was subsequently assigned to night operations only. In the grim early days of 1941, the skies above the United Kingdom were haunted by the ominous drone of German bombers. This was the height of the Blitz, a relentless nighttime bombing campaign by the Luftwaffe that brought terror and destruction to British cities. Amidst this dire situation, squadrons equipped with the Boulton Paul Defiant took to the skies in a valiant effort to repel the enemy. However unique with its turret-armed design, the Defiant soon revealed its limitations. It was not built for the brutal dogfights that characterized aerial combat against the agile Bf-109, the Luftwaffe's dreaded fighter. Losses mounted quickly, and the reality set in. The Defiant was outmatched. Consequently, the beleaguered squadrons were repositioned to less hazardous zones, away from the fierce heart of the battle. The Royal Air Force, ever in pursuit of effective strategies, demanded robust performance data. In response, Boulton Paul unveiled the Defiant Mark II. This upgraded model boasted a pressurized fuel system, increased fuel capacity, and was powered by the mighty 1,260 horsepower Merlin 20 engine, a significant boost in capability. Yet, the initial Defiant night fighters had a critical shortcoming. They lacked airborne interception radar. Pilots relied solely on their vision and the beams of ground-based searchlights to locate and attack enemy bombers. As the year progressed, a significant advancement arrived. Defiants equipped with AI Mark IV airborne interception radars were introduced, revolutionizing their night-fighting capability. Now, these radar-equipped Defiants could engage unescorted German bombers without falling prey to enemy fighters. However, the tide of war was turning. The Luftwaffe's bombing campaign over the UK began to wane, as German forces were increasingly committed to the Eastern Front, including the monumental invasion of the Soviet Union. By 1942, its limited endurance of just 2 hours in the air and the shifting focus of the conflict necessitated a change. The Defiant was gradually replaced by more capable aircraft like the Bristol Beaufighter and the de Havilland Mosquito, both boasting greater speed and significantly longer range. Initially used in various capacities, including gunnery training and special operations, the Defiant's journey was marked by versatility and innovation. During 1942 and 43, a Royal Air Force squadron operated 9 Defiants, uniquely modified with moonshine radar jamming equipment. This strategic deployment was part of a collaborative operation with the U.S. Army Air Forces, aimed at disrupting enemy radar during daylight bombing raids. A remarkable milestone in aviation history was achieved when one Defiant became the testbed for the pioneering Martin Baker ejection seat. Starting in May 1945, the aircraft conducted the first dummy ejection trials, paving the way for a significant advancement in pilot safety. In its lesser-known air-sea rescue role, the Defiant was selected to succeed the Westland Lysander. Equipped for this purpose, the aircraft carried 2 M-type dinghies in underwing pods, ready for deployment and rescue operations. However, despite being flown by several squadrons, the Defiant's performance began to show its limitations, its aging design struggling to keep pace with evolving aerial warfare. In the European theater, the Defiant did contribute to the emergence of several aces, but its last operational use was rather unglamorous, serving as a target tug in India, where RAF pilots practiced on towed gliders. Air Chief Marshal Hugh Dowding, then head of Fighter Command, reflected on the Defiant's challenges. Despite its innovative rotating turret design, which was later adopted by other bombers, the aircraft often relied more on enemy misidentification than on its own inherent capabilities. Its inability to effectively defend against faster German aircraft and escalating operational costs further underscored its limitations. Yet the Defiant's role during the Blitz cannot be overlooked. Aviation author John Taylor notes that the 4 Defiant-equipped squadrons within the Royal Air Force remarkably accounted for more German aircraft downed than any other type during this critical period.